On September 15th, 2015, one of the funniest, most insanity-inducing, and iconic video games was released for PC and sent the whole internet into a frenzy. How could one game that had the same quality as the Super Mario Bros., the original Super Mario Bros., be so compelling? After playing Undertale, however, people found that it was not only due to the retro graphics and gameplay, but also the complicated coding, original music, and hidden themes. Undertale opens with the classic Once Upon a Time style story to explain the basic plot elements and backstory. It tells the player that there were two races who lived together peacefully, monsters and humans. One day, the humans became jealous of the monsters' magic. There was a war and the humans triumphed, using what little magic they had to banish the monsters to the underground. They sealed the opening with a barrier that would allow anyone through, but not back out. The only thing that could break the barrier were 7 human souls. The player follows a small human child who falls through the barrier and has enough determination to persist through the end to escape the underground. The creator of Undertale, Toby Fox, drew inspiration from his favorite game, Earthbound, and its retro gameplay style. As such, the game is completely in 8-bit and the controls are exceedingly simple. The music also has an almost pixelated quality to it, as you can hear in the background of this video. One of my favorite things about Undertale are the pop culture references and the self-awareness of the occasional absurdity. One of these pop culture references is an NPC who is named Lukes. Upon checking details for the character, the flavor text says that its last name is Eyewalker. The jokes and gags may be enough for some people to walk away, but the game is incredibly self-aware and knows the jokes are ridiculous. It works well with the context and enhances the playing experience. During the gameplay itself, the player encounters enemy attacks along the path. The player's soul, shown as a red heart, is the cursor used to dodge the attacks. There are multiple options to end the battle: fighting, acting, and sparing. The actions toward the enemies in these fights play a major role in the endings of the game, depending on whether the player ends the fights with violence or kindness. There are 3 main endings to the game: pacifist, neutral, and genocide. After a neutral ending, the player has the option to reset, where the main side characters will think the human seems familiar to them because the game wasn't truly reset. After a pacifist ending, the player will have the option to do a true reset, which completely wipes the game's memory and starts them on a clean slate. However, although there is a true reset option after genocide, even when selecting this, the game never truly forgets, leading to one of the most well-known instances of complicated coding in the game. I won't talk about that right now due to spoilers, but I will talk about one of my other favorite instances of complicated coding in the game, which is the fun value numbers. These are assigned to the root as soon as the game file is created. This random number will give the player a very unique experience and reveal things about the backstory that aren't in the main plot of the game. The numbers range between 1 and 100, including decimals. If the number happens to be 65, a room called the sound test room will appear. When the player walks off screen into a certain area, a black screen with instructions will appear. There are 4 songs to pick from, none of which are used in the rest of the game. 3 of them will play normally, but the 4th one will continue to play and will not stop no matter the options the player selects. This mysterious song is called Gaster's Theme, and once played, all of the other songs are completely unplayable. Gaster's Theme plays for about 30 seconds before the game stops the music on its own, and displays a screen that says, "Thanks for your feedback, be seeing you soon." Similarly, when choosing a name for their character, there is also a secret Easter egg about Gaster. There are many names with fun messages attached to them, some forbidden and some not. If the name Undyne is chosen, a screen will appear saying, "Get your own name." Choosing the name Washua, a background enemy character, will display the message, "Clean name." However, here's what happens if the name Gaster is attempted. It takes a massive amount of time and effort to code these things, and the fact that it was done only makes the player further appreciate the game. These instances of complicated and careful coding to reveal details that would otherwise be unknown make Undertale so much more interesting than the average video game. Yet another engaging aspect of the game is its music. Not only does it have that classic retro and almost pixelated sound, it also has many reoccurring themes. These are called leitmotifs. The most recognized song out of these is called Spider Dance. There are sections in the song that have already been played during previous fights throughout the game, but they are heard in new and interesting ways each time. Listen for yourself. It's the same pattern of notes played in different keys, octaves, or styles, and it gives the player a feeling of nostalgia and helps them connect certain things that they might not have otherwise. These leitmotifs also condition the player to feel a certain way every time they hear it based on the feelings evoked the first time they heard it. This creates a unique atmosphere that almost no other game has been able to replicate. Another unique feature of the game is how the hidden messages are emphasized through so many small details. There are so many things that push the narrative of your choices matter without the player even realizing it. For example, within the first few minutes of the game, the player encounters a pillar with candy on top. There's a sign that says, "Take one." If the player takes more than one, flavor text will appear saying things to make the player feel kind of guilty. While this may seem like a joke, and it partially is, it's really there to enforce the idea that the player's choices matter and foreshadows the ways the game can make you feel guilty for your selfish decisions. It's a small detail, but it helps illustrate the entire hidden meaning of Undertale. When I've tried to explain why I love this game so much to people and recommend that they play it themselves, I've gotten responses saying,
"The graphics are terrible. How can you play this?"
But they are missing out on what else the game has to offer. Even though the graphics and controls are very simple and look as they did 30 years ago, it's also part of what makes the game so charming. It's interesting and refreshing to see an 8-bit video game released alongside other things like Halo 5, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty. While these games may also be famous, there's not much that they have visually to make them stand out. Think about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It was such a cultural phenomenon because of the distinct art style, which immediately made it more appealing than everything else that was coming out around that time. Similarly, when we look at a list of games released in 2015 alongside Undertale, it immediately stands out against the rest. The issue with these other video games is that there are very few visuals that make them particularly eye-catching. In my opinion, they all look kind of the same. The characters, the action scenes, the movements, and the backgrounds just don't look very distinct. There are certain types of facial features and movements that are easier to render than others, so animators will opt for those easier ones to save money. While this is understandable, it also makes the game really bland and unordinary. With Undertale, there is an option for a refreshing playing experience because of the old graphics. Those who refuse to play because of that are just denying themselves an opportunity for a unique experience, and continue to consume the dull, unimaginative, uninspiring video games that are just pushed out for money rather than a story. With the rapid development of high-quality video game graphics, people may see Undertale and pass over it due to a surface-level judgment. They're missing out on such a great game. The graphics and retro gameplay make Undertale so worth the run-through, and it's only enhanced by the complicated coding, engaging music, and hidden messages to push the theme of the story. Thank you all for watching and just listening to me ramble about how much I love this game. I truly recommend it to any gamer and even people who don't usually play video games because it's just such a unique experience. I hope you enjoyed this video essay on why you're missing out if you haven't played Undertale, and thank you again for watching. Bye.